Well, this is also very troubling. A new study found that 35% of college students thought about dropping out before graduation. It has been a very stressful time for these students whose college experience was bookended by the pandemic and demonstrations now over the war in Gaza. More than half of the 14,000 students surveyed cited emotional stress as the primary reason. The next reason students considered giving up on school was mental health. And the cost of attendance is, of course, a big thing for students. It noticeably, though, took a backseat in comparison to emotional and mental stress. Joining me now, Dr. John Duffy. He's a clinical psychologist who has written extensively about young people's mental health in books, including his latest, Rescuing Our Sons, 8 Solutions to Our Crisis of Disaffected Teen Boys. Dr. Duffy, as always, thank you for being here. I'm guessing none of this is a surprise to you. What are teens and college-age kids sharing with you about the stresses of school and life right now?
First of all, Marni, good to talk to you. And you're right, none of this is a surprise to me at all. An awful lot of young people are considering leaving campus. A lot of them actually are leaving campus. And you cite one of the primary reasons that is happening right now. The pandemic has driven a lot of social anxiety. There's this social practice effect that people missed in 2020 and 2021. And young people are not bouncing back very well from that. And it's driving this sense of social anxiety, the likes of which I have never seen before, and depression, and in the end, loneliness. College is also the first time that resilience is really tested in young people. And I notice a lot more of the young people I'm working with and my colleagues are working with say they feel less resilient to a new atmosphere without the pillars that they're used to, the familiarity that they're used to back at home. So that is another major factor that's being played out here. And there's also an increased focus in their lives on mental health issues between themselves and what they talk about with their friends, what they talk about on social media. And this drives a lot of anxiety, depression in them as well. It's good that they're talking about it, but I think the more they talk about it, the more they start to adopt the idea that they might be depressed, they might be anxious, they might be lonely. And that also is a factor in kids at least considering leaving campus.
Right. Wow. So not only social media contributing to it, but you think talking about it would make you feel better, actually also maybe feeding and fueling some of those concerns. It's also interesting, more female students feeling like they want to drop out than male students. Why is that?
Yeah, I think that, female students are used to feeling the support of their peers in a far more profound way, and that carrying them, they're more open to talking about how they feel. And in the past, that has been satisfactory to carry them through. Now, I think there's a sense of overwhelm with the emotional issues that they're suffering that they have not experienced in the past.
So let's talk about coping. I think one, for the student themselves, a young person who is dealing with depression, anxiety, stress, just feeling overwhelmed. What should their first step be, and what are the signs and symptoms those around them should be looking for?
Yeah, great question. So most every major college campus in America has a CAPS program, College and Psychological Services. Those are available for our kids, and not every kid on every college campus is keenly aware that that is available to them. And sometimes these CAPS programs are overstressed, so they have waiting lists that are really trying for a young person who is struggling, right? I'm going to the CAPS program and they don't have time to see me. I've got a month or two that I've got to wait. So we need to make sure that young people are aware of the signs and symptoms of depression and anxiety and loneliness. So if your roommate is isolating or is not eating or is sleeping all day long, kind of educate yourself on those things, because for a lot of these people, Marni, for a lot of these young kids, the only people they might see in a given day or week or sometimes month is their roommate or a friend. And so we need to make sure that young people are educated on these issues and that they are aware that they're the ones who are going to need to take care of one another, at least to an extent.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.